Hey friends, this is Corey from Rigwell. Today we're going to be working on the Sprinter. This is a 2019 4x4 and we put some big tires on it, so now we got some rubbing issues. So I'm going to show you how to take care of that today. These are 275 7017s. These are BFG KO2s. I believe they're a 10-ply tire. Now we have them mounted up to Evo Course rims, and those are 17-inch. So we just got this all set up. It looks pretty sick, but you can see right here we have about not even 2 fingers, maybe 1 finger of clearance there, and it rubs pretty bad. Now I know there's a ton of opinions and ways to skin every cat, and just the way I'm doing it, I've read some forums online, and this is kind of the best way I've found to do it. But if you guys have different ideas, please comment below. Of course, we got our buddy Ari's here helping us do the work. First thing we're gonna do is take off these 2 screws right here. These are Torx heads, this one and this one. You'll pull those off, and then next up we'll take off, there's the 10mm bolts. There's one here, and then there's one right down below here, so we'll pop those off. Okay, now that we got the mud flap off, we need to take the inner fender wheel off, inner fender wheel well out. So this is a series of 10mm bolts. Sorry, it's probably a little hard to see. You're gonna have one up in this section here. You have one. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. One right here, and one back down here. You can focus on that guy right there. That's another 10. And then this just simply pops out. It's tucked up in here along the fender well here. So let's go ahead and get those out next. Now that we have that out, we have our exposed fender edge here, and this is what we'll be cutting. So you can see this line here in the body panel. We're going to come about 1 inch in, and we're going to try to cut. We'll put a tape line here next, so this opens up and becomes wider, so our whole mud flap can go back. Alright, next thing we're gonna do is put our tape line on. So this is the piece that I cut off the other side already. That's about how much we want to cut off right there. In fact, it is almost an inch at the bottom. It's about 3/4 inch. Kind of down here at the bottom of the tape line. So basically, I just took a piece of tape and was running with the body line here, but it curves in real hard, as you can see, and we're gonna kind of come down more straight. You can see how the body line comes down, and then instead of curving in, we're gonna go more straight down. And you can see we're gonna lose this clip here. So we're going to pull that off now. So we need to keep that for the new bracket we're going to make. Pretty close to the other side. Not perfect, but close. And this is all gonna get covered back up here, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is bend this bracket backwards. And right now it's a little less than 2 fingers in between here and the tire. So we need to bring this back about 1 inch. Don't believe it's a perfect science. It bends super easily, and now we have 3 fingers here. So you can see, pretty easy. It's pretty thin metal, so we just bent it back. Now this is without the inner fender wheel back in, but you can see we have a barking dog. You can see that we now have much more room here. We're not touching. You can also see the body line here, how we no longer fault. This line disappears into the mud flap now, where before you could see that line all the way down through. So, all right, on to the next step. We need to make a bracket so that we can still use this original hole. This is 1¼ by 1¼ angle, and I believe it is 1 1/16 inch thick, so 1/16. So this stuff's not very thick, you can see here. We're just gonna chop 1.5 inches off the end here. Just a little filing down around the edges then. We'll take off the burrs. Next we're gonna hold the bracket up in place and then install the mud flap temporarily so we can see where we're going to need to drill the hole for that factory hole in the bottom of the mud flap. Here I'm just pre-drilling with a smaller drill bit through the side of the fender into the bracket, and then using a self-tapping sheet metal screw. Just using a Sharpie here, and once you have the mud flap all lined up, just put a little dot. It makes a little dot on your bracket, and you can take it back off or leave it on and drill it out the same way we did with the other hole. Don't forget to add this clip back on. This will allow you to use the factory screw instead of having to use a sheet metal screw or something like that, and it holds really nice. Now that's a completed bracket, so it's good to go. Pretty much now we just got to put the inner fender well back in and then reinstall the mud flap, and we should be good to go. Okay, so there's the mud flap all back on. You can see this line now. We can see it at the top, and then it slowly disappears under the mud flap, where before we could see all of that line. It's gonna be a wrap on cutting the mud flaps. So here you go. Here's your after. You can see got a nice air gap there behind that tire. That's the passenger side. And here's the driver. See a nice equal amount there. Plenty of room now. So don't be scared of this job. I would give yourself a few hours, maybe even 3-4 hours to complete it. You do want to get it right. It is cutting the metal off of your van, so it's kind of scary. But one of those things that if you want to run bigger tires, you're just gonna have to do. So hopefully this video helped you out a little bit. If it did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your buddies, and stay tuned for more videos out of Rigwell. Thanks guys, see ya.